Imagine for a moment that every time you grew old, or fell gravely ill, or stood at the very edge of death, your body simply refused to accept it, and instead of fading away, you began to wind backward through time, melting into the form of a newborn before rising again, whole and young, ready to live your life all over. It sounds like pure science fiction, the kind of impossible dream we tell ourselves in stories. And yet, drifting somewhere in the warm waters of our oceans right now, there is a creature no bigger than a single pea that does exactly this, a tiny, almost invisible animal that scientists have come to call the immortal jellyfish. Its real name is Turritopsis dohrnii, and at first glance there is nothing about it that hints at the secret it carries. It looks delicate, fragile, easily lost in the vastness of the sea. But beneath that simple body lies one of the most astonishing tricks in all of nature. A power so strange that when researchers first stumbled upon it back in the 1980s, it overturned everything we thought we understood about aging, because to this day, this remains the only animal on Earth known to be capable of truly turning back its own biological clock. To understand just how remarkable that is, you have to know how a jellyfish is supposed to live. Normally, its life moves in one direction only, the way ours does. It begins as a tiny blob anchored to a rock, a stage called the polyp, and from there it grows upward and outward into the graceful, pulsing creature we recognize, trailing its tentacles through the water as it drifts. That journey is meant to end the way all journeys end. But Turritopsis breaks the rule entirely. When it is wounded, when it is starving, when by every measure it should be dying, it does something no other creature can. It sinks down, settles onto a surface, draws its tentacles back into itself, and slowly collapses into a featureless little blob. And that blob is the polyp, the very earliest stage of its life. In other words, it has rewound itself completely, back to the beginning. And from that reborn polyp, brand new jellyfish bud off as perfect genetic clones. Death, somehow, has been quietly rewritten into rebirth. For decades, this seemed like magic. But in 2022, a team of researchers in Spain finally cracked open its genetic code in search of an explanation. And what they found was illuminating. This jellyfish carries genes that are far more active than usual at three crucial tasks: repairing damaged DNA, protecting the telomeres at the tips of its chromosomes, the very things that fray and shorten in us as we age, and maintaining the stem cells that can transform into any kind of cell the body needs. Together, those abilities let it endlessly rebuild itself instead of slowly wearing down the way the rest of us do. Before you start to envy it, though, there's an important catch. Being immortal does not mean being impossible to kill. This little creature can still be eaten by a passing fish, struck down by disease, or destroyed by a harsh and shifting ocean. And just as importantly, that miraculous act of growing young again has so far only ever been observed under the controlled conditions of a laboratory. So out in the wild and open sea, no one can say for certain how often it really happens. Still, this animal no larger than a pea is holding on to one of the deepest secrets life has ever kept. And if we ever truly learn how it mends its own DNA and reverses the march of time, the key to our own longevity may turn out to have been drifting silently beneath the waves all along.